Tonight's video presentation has been sponsored by Autumn Healthcare Incorporated and Thera Trust Incorporated. Tonight we celebrate the compassion, kindness, dedication, drive, success, and aspiration of 4 women. These are the 2008 Licking County Women of Achievement. Irene Kennedy spent 23 years at Denison University leading students in service learning and religious life, so finding ways to help others has been a lifelong calling.
So I worked with a student organization and provided leadership to them as I found places in the community for them to volunteer their services.
As you might expect, someone who helps students find ways to serve the community is also deeply committed to involving themselves in community service.
Her work at Denison kind of started with her helping the kids, and then it grew from getting them involved in the community to her becoming a board member on St. Vincent de Paul. And making sure that people have food is important, along with making sure that they have shelter.
When Irene retired from Denison in 2004, it didn't take long for her to find a new arena to apply her commitment to service.
I felt that I could really be of use in the presidential campaign, so I went to work for the Kerry folks.
Through this process, Irene discovered her next calling, politics.
I think her work on council, she's proud of. It was a difficult decision for her to run for council.
We all got together at one of our houses and talked and decided we'd go to the Democratic Central Committee meeting and find out why there weren't any candidates. I noticed there were so many uncontested races that fall. And when we got there, they challenged us and they said, we don't have anybody to run for office. And I thought about it and I thought, you know, you have to step up when you know there's a void. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this or not, but I certainly have the time now.
Not only has she devoted her time to the city of Newark in her role as councilwoman, but she has also devoted herself to another cause, the St. Vincent de Paul Society.
The St. Vincent de Paul Society itself is a worldwide spiritual organization through the Catholic Church. And St. Vincent, whom it's named after, was a person who served the poor.
One way Irene's compassion shines through is her involvement with the St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank in helping people in their time of need.
And making sure that people have food is important, along with making sure that they have shelter. So she sometimes even adopts people to make sure that they're taken care of.
With a wealth of life and academic experience, Irene puts her gifts to work for the entire community selflessly.
Irene has a great educational background, and she's used that educational background in business to help the community. So she's used it to further the objectives of the city as opposed to using them personally.
To Irene, a life of community service is important.
All my life, and I think I've built layers of experience that led me to where I am today, but when my husband was in the service and during our early marriage and then later in his career, we moved around a lot. And I always searched for a way to find community wherever I went. And the way I did it was to volunteer.
Diane Pates returned home from a trip through the Panama Canal to not only learn she was nominated, but had been named one of the 2008 Licking County Women of Achievement.
I was overwhelmed. I still am. Still am.
A fitting response for someone who has overwhelmed so many by her compassion and desire to help others. Sharon Phelps orchestrated the nomination effort as a tribute to Diane's giving spirit.
Diane just, to me, represents everything a volunteer could possibly be. She does it from her heart. She does it with compassion and feeling.
Diane points to her involvement with the Licking County League of Women Voters in the 1970s as the start of her community involvement. and since then, she has served on a long list of organizations throughout Licking County as a volunteer, committee member, or president.
She's been very involved in helping people get housing, working with the Housing Association.
Diane recalls a memory from her childhood in Chicago as a possible source for her compassion for others and what draws her to certain opportunities to help.
Ever since I was a child living in Chicago and we were evicted from a house right after Korea. And so housing has always been a concern, and I worked for the county commissioners in the housing area. I worked with the first groups that were starting Habitat and worked with the group starting the first Habitat house in Licking County.
Her involvement in organizations that help those in need goes beyond housing. Becoming involved with the Licking County Coalition of Care 2 years ago, Diane now serves as the board's president.
And they're there as kind of the last place where people can go if they need help with rent, utilities, any kind of emergency assistance. And we basically intake people who call the agency. They're referred to us by a church. They call the agency, ask to come and talk to a counselor. We counsel them. We work with them on a budget if at all possible. We try and find out why they got into the situation that they did. And then we help them find a way to take care of that.
So what's next on Diane's schedule?
Right now she's involved in the Support the Troops campaign that's actually started as a part of the Thrivent Financial for Lutherans chapter.
This project has grown each of the first 2 years.
In 2006, we sent over 80 boxes to Iraq, totaling about 1,000 pounds. And then the following year, last year, we sent off 124 boxes. So we're going to be assembling again boxes for the troops on May 3rd and hope to exceed the 120 boxes we sent this year.
Yet another childhood memory inspires Diane in her quest to always lend her helping hand.
I think it goes back to when I was a child. And as I mentioned, I lived in Chicago. And when I was about 5 or 6, my father got tuberculosis and he was put into a sanitarium. Mother had to go on aid for dependent children in order to keep food coming in. But what I remember most, and what I guess causes me to kind of pay it forward, is we would occasionally come home and there would be a bag of groceries sitting there. And we didn't know who brought them. It was a complete surprise. And it was something that was needed at the time, but it was there. So I think that, plus God has been so good to me that there's no reason why I shouldn't be good to someone else.
Teresa Scott has had a pretty big year. She was recognized as the State Farm Insurance Volunteer of the Year, and now she is receiving the honor of being one of the 2008 Licking County Women of Achievement.
I was totally overwhelmed, actually speechless was more the words for probably the first time in my life. So, you know, it was a total shock. I had no idea I was even being nominated.
The idea to nominate Terry started with people who work with her at State Farm. But Kelly Tanner says that those who expressed their support for Terry extended well beyond the walls of State Farm.
People she works with, students that she has worked with in the past, the principal of Blessed Sacrament School, the principal of Newark Catholic High School. It was a well-rounded group because Terry touches a lot of different groups of people.
It's not difficult to see why so many people contributed to Terry's nomination for the Women of Achievement Award.
Terry has the gift of recognizing when a person or her team or the community has a special need. And she will remove every obstacle to fill that need.
Terry has devoted much of her life to coaching sports throughout the county, but that gift of identifying a void and fulfilling the need is exactly what she did in establishing the drama club at Blessed Sacrament.
There was a point in time where I thought, man, there should be something else for all these kids that really don't have the athletic skills. So I decided to try this drama club.
In its third year, the Blessed Sacrament School Drama Club has grown from 42 members in year 1 to 80 kids this year from kindergarten through 8th grade, which is nearly 45% of the entire school population.
This year we chose Oz because we knew we would get even more participation. So we've got flying monkeys and munchkins and trees and poppy flowers, and there's kids everywhere.
Not only does Terry's involvement with the children at Blessed Sacrament lead to a performance on the stage, but her giving spirit is spread to those children that she touches.
The drama group, to give back to the community that sponsored them so that they could have their play, they had a project of putting mulch and flowers all around Blessed Sacrament Church and School. That was their thank you for how the community had helped them. So Terry not only gives of her time and generosity, but those who she impacts also learn from what Terry does. And Terry makes it fun so that the people that she touched also help the community.
Terry's compassion isn't limited to helping children. She helped fulfill a lifelong dream of a friend who was battling cancer.
That's John Clark, my good friend.
And he always wanted to see a Notre Dame game. And shortly before he passed, Terry took him to Notre Dame.
Gosh, when I asked him, he was like so elated. It was really a good feeling. So I told him that I wanted to take him, and I took him and his godchild, Janet.
To help her celebrate her recent recognition, her co-workers decided to get her a new pair of shoes.
They wouldn't let me go spend the card because they were afraid I wouldn't buy something for myself. So they actually sent a co-worker with me to buy these new pink shoes that I have on.
Appropriate for someone who is always on the go to help with another worthy cause. When it comes to being center stage, Northridge High School senior Gabrielle Tan is right at home. And when you look at her list of activities and accomplishments, you'll see a young woman who puts herself in the middle of the action quite a bit.
When you talk about a young woman of achievement, that is her. You know, she's so active. She does a lot of, she participates in a lot of things, and I kind of get exhausted when I'm with her because her schedule is so busy.
I'm president of National Honor Society. I was inducted my sophomore year, so I love the stuff that we do there. We sell ice cream every Friday. We do pennies for patients. We help out with the food drive. We do blood drive. Another friend and I have co-chaired the blood drive for 2 years now. So that's a big job.
Gabby, as she is known by her friends, is also involved with the French Club, Teens Against Drugs, Student Council. She served as captain of the swim team, president of Ohio Models United Nations, and was a Licking County and Ohio Junior Miss Representative, just to name a few of her accomplishments. Gabby is also a high-achieving student in the classroom, earning a perfect 4.0 GPA or above award and the Top 10 Academic Award.
Academically, you know, she's over 4.0 while she does a million other things. So that's an achievement in itself. She's not the bookworm. She's achieves in the classroom. She's very talented, grades, etc. But she does so much more beyond the classroom.
Another of Gabby's passions is drama and musical theater. Currently, she is in rehearsals as the lead in Northridge's upcoming production of Thoroughly Modern Millie.
It's a girl from Salina, Kansas, who comes to the big city of New York, and she just thinks that to make it big, you have to marry somebody rich, and she finds out that that's really not the case.
One thing that is very important to Gabby is her progress towards the Congressional Award Gold Medal.
The Congressional Award is 800 hours of community service, and it's in 4 areas of criteria. It's expedition exploration, physical fitness, leadership, and community service. And it's about 200 hours in each area. It's bronze, silver, and gold certificates, and then bronze, silver, and gold medals. I've completed all the certificates, and I'm in the bronze and silver medals now. So we're about 600 hours in, and I need to get the 200 more hours for the gold.
Gabby's aspirations aren't going to end with graduation. She has big plans next fall.
She has been accepted at Cornell, that little Ivy League over in New York. Hopefully she'll put Northridge on the map with that. And she's going to major in pre-med.
I got into biology and anatomy and physiology my freshman and sophomore years. And I had a teacher who really inspired me, and I really love muscle structure. So I found that math, science, muscle structure, anatomy, physiology, totally one way to go as the doctor. So I want to be a physician, and I think with my heritage and my dad being born and raised in Cambodia, He inspires me to go study abroad in China, and I think one day I would like to hybrid Eastern and Western medicine, so that's just something that I want to do.